Get ready for another mind-blowing update from my friend Jim. In just 4 weeks, he's gone from an interesting opportunity to a full-fledged franchise approval. Spills the beans on the timelines, the training phase, and his journey to sweet success. He previously ran a $1 billion product line and managed 150 people. Can he have the same success running a bakery in a suburb? He seems to think so. I think he can, and he thinks you can also. Here's a conversation. So happy to get started. Yeah, today we got Jim. Thanks for joining in the hot seat with some exciting news, right? You just got the green light for your second franchise. So we're very excited to hear this latest update. So, it's been a pretty, it's only been 4 weeks since you mentioned this opportunity. So it's quite amazing how fast this has progressed.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, from the first call on about December 1st till January 3rd, we went from inquiry to thinking we were out of the deal to very quick deal making to the franchisor approval as of yesterday. So all green lights now. And so now it's a matter of just putting pen to paper and paying the money.
Very good. And so the pen to paper, what's the timeline looking like for that? And then the money, what's the timeline looking for that?
Well, the actual transfer date's not till March 4th. Mm-hmm. So it's more like capital outlay to the seller, transfer fee to the franchisor. That'll happen in the next week. And then I think, after that, then we have to work on getting assigned the lease from the landlord. But then next big step is training in February. And then, like I said, we'll take ownership around the first week of March. And then all the rest of the money will take, will flow at the day before closing or the day of closing, I guess.
So March 1st is the official day you get the keys.
Yeah.
Is there escrow in the middle, kind of like a mortgage?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah. So that's why I say it's approximately. I don't exactly. I mean, I've never done it this way, but she said the seller said once we got the approval from the franchisor and I submit the transfer fee, then we'll go. I'm sure she's got a name in mind, but we'll go set up an escrow.
Oh, you'd have to. I guess that escrow is negotiated between the buyer and the seller. It's not like an established entity or vendor that like the corporate.
Typically. Well, yeah, definitely not from corporate. No, they're out of the middle of, or they're not. It seems like they're pretty much. They wanted to see the signed transaction, the signed purchase agreement, but I mean, they don't have a stock agreement. They weren't interested in how much or how little I was paying. It was just show us that you've got a deal and we'll move it.
So how are they vetting you? Do you have to go through an interview process, or is a transfer a little bit of a smoother thing than like if you were fresh trying to buy into it in the first place? Do you know?
Yeah. So there was a big application packet with, resumes and financial statements, tax statements from the last 3 years, a net worth calculation, not too much like Q&A. But we submitted that the week of, what was that? It was right before the new year. I think it was the day after Christmas or something. And then I had an interview with one of the ops people 2 days ago. And it was, along the lines of, tell us about your business. How have you gotten Once Upon a Child to grow? And of course, magically all my answers were good ways that will make the cookie place grow. And they seemed satisfied with all that. So we got the ops green light. I mean, that was pretty much it.
Do you think that'll be the same ops person, like regional territory, who's going to be supporting you? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even the seller originally said, "Oh, you're going to have to talk to the director of ops," which is, again, I'm not sure, the exact analogy, but I assumed it was going to be like when we interviewed for Once Upon. We sat down with the director of ops for that brand, right? So she's over like 400 stores, and she kind of did a little like half personal, half career interview. And, what are your plans? How will you handle X, Y, Z? So we were originally going to talk to this director of ops for the cookies. And then I don't know if the timing was poor or if he saw the resume and the package and was like, okay, I don't need to do this. But basically he handed us off to his, the area manager that will be taking care of us going forward. So it was good. She was super nice, and that's who we'll work with in the future. So it was good.
Yeah.
Way to
Start a good relationship with them, with
Right.
that person. Yeah. That's exciting.
She's already got plenty of ideas for how we can grow. So,
What, has she been like banging her head against the wall with the current owner who's not been receptive to anything?
There's a little, yeah. She's like, I'm not gonna take shots at so and so, but there's lots we could do. I was like, cool, I'm all ears.
Did she drop a hint?
No.
Advertising? No, nothing.
Not so much that. Back to the cookie cakes. She's like, I know that they haven't done a lot. I think they've just sort of been doing the bare minimum. So if you guys can find somebody to do that, then that's how. Basically, she said you can grow without having too much invested in that. But if you want to get to the next level, whatever that is, then you need to be able to have a good cookie cake game.
In our previous discussion, didn't we say it was like a split was roughly 40-40-20 or 50-50 with the cookie game? What would they expect?
Yeah, we didn't get into it.
Oh, okay.
That, so. But yeah, it was about 50-50 when you included all the cookies, single cookies, cookie cakes versus, ice cream cakes and ice cream shakes, that kind of thing.
Is there an art institute or like a culinary art institute in Austin?
Maybe.
I think they've got like an art. I saw the art institute in Atlanta, because I think that there's kind of that school just has a site there. I don't know if maybe.
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking like you could get an
Intern
intern
chef?
or an art student to help design or decorate your cookie cakes as a part-time thing if you've got pre-orders and stuff like that, and then the student could come in and do that work on their own time.
Well, remember, Jim wants that robot.
Yeah, I'm all about finding a robot / stencil machine / something to try to. It's fine. There's some room to play, but I meant there's room to play with the salary as well. So I know that the current owner is taking a very strong stance to hire like very unskilled workers at very close to minimum wage. So there's definitely room in the P&L, or if we think that's a growth vector, then yeah, I wouldn't mind paying more to a decorator, especially if it's somebody that can be a decorator / lead, right, or supervisor. So yeah, so we'll be busy in the business early on, but of course with a view to get out and have somebody oversee the business.
Well, eventually taking over some of her other locations, right?
Or building new ones, or whatever.
Absorbing her entire portfolio.
You already said they want another one. They're looking at they want to build one in Georgetown, so that's 25 minutes away. And she's like, I'm not going there. Definitely not.
So your side of the family is famous for crafting up savory treats. How's their response to this latest news?
They're pretty excited. Yeah, it'd be nice if I could get my mom to move down and just be the decorator, but I don't think my sister will let her leave their current city.
That's too bad.
When you get your mom and your sister to move down.
I said that, but yeah, probably not going to happen. But no,
I think Jim kept talking about minimum wage. They're probably hearing Jim in the back. It's like, I'm not going to get moved down here for minimum wage.
I've been trying to tell my sister to tell me what business she wants so I can invest in one in Fayetteville and she can go run it, but she's busy doing her studio thing for now. So, although she did tell me one time we should start a Korean fried chicken place.
We as in you and her? Not me, right?
As in Fayetteville needs Korean fried chicken. Don't you want to build it and I'll manage it? Something like that. All pretty exciting. Trying to think negotiation wise, nothing too crazy. We got the price down a little bit. And she didn't push back really on any of the stuff I suggested. She accepted that I put in like a 90-day non-solicit clause so that I don't know if she's going to try to go after her current people, but we at least get them for 90 days.
Oh, like to hire them away?
Basically, yeah, I basically said, you won't solicit or hire any current or future employees at the time of transfer for at least 90 days. So, and then she did push back. I asked for 30 days for the, just in case something, sort of like unexpectedly breaks, and she pushed back for 15. I said, fine.
So now, I mean, if you're good with the transfer fee and corporate is okay with it, do you automatically get access to the other brands that are in that umbrella, or do you have to apply for like the pretzel brand and pay a separate fee?
So you have to apply. So kind of interesting is it's all under one roof, but we're signing 2 separate agreements, and it's even to the extent that we have 2 separate bank accounts in which to send our like royalties and like cost, like paying for our stuff. So yeah, so and I guess that makes sense because there are stores that are only cookies, there are stores that are only ice cream. So they don't have like it doesn't seem like they have a separate branch for these dual concepts. And that probably makes sense, right? So that way you can kind of mix and match concepts.
But the point of sale machine is able to kind of differentiate and distinguish that stuff for you, I would guess. Or
yeah,
you like ring up 2 different transactions.
So it'll put it together, but yeah, it's basically like, she's like, so I've just ring up your cookies. Now let me escape. Now select cookie, or now select ice cream. And then so then it looks like you're just in the ice cream world. So.
Oh.
But.
What if that's how it works now?
That's how it works now.
And that's how it's going to work March 1st.
Yes. So, I mean, that's just the POS system. So yeah, that's fine. Not the biggest thing I guess we'll talk another call. What's your strategy to take over and transition? But I mean, yeah, of course, the biggest thing is
that's what I sound like.
Don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat. Keep things under control. Right. I'm toying with the idea. We'll probably offer some sort of like stay bonus. Like, I'm not that worried, but just some sort of like stay bonus to the current team so that they, maybe get some good vibes from the new incoming owners.
Free Diet Cokes in the break room and Snickers bars.
And what bars?
Snickers bars, Oreo cookies or whatever.
Yeah.
You didn't see on his 2024 OKRs, no more Diet Cokes. Wait, does he?
That's why he's giving away for free.
Oh, that's why he's giving away. I know one of the challenges you had with your current franchise was the inability to scale up to additional locations. What kind of restrictions do they have for this one? Is there a 6 month, 1 year, 2 year?
Yeah, we didn't get into that. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that was definitely a kind of a part missing from the interview, which was like, what's your long-term plan? And especially just, I'm not to say anything mean about the ops person I talked to, but yeah, she was just more like, how are you going to do things? Right. She was just more like, she seemed more worried about her KPIs, but I think if I talked to somebody at headquarters, it would have been a little bit more, what's next and how do you plan to do this? And, oh, sure, let me tell you what the next steps usually look like and stuff. But yeah, so I don't know, but Carly, I mean, probably short of taking over the seller's other stores, I don't think Carly and I are that interested in like looking at something, 25, 35, 45 minutes away. Especially if it's in a different direction than our other store. Justin, I'll tell you something. I chatted briefly with Seymour, but just back to the interview. After we did all the sort of simple Q&A, and then I asked the ops consultant, like, do you have any questions for me? She's like, no, not really. I said, okay. I mean, we sent you all that package, like all my info, financial background, resume, any red flags. And she's like, well, I mean, if you didn't have these 2 years of having owned this Once Upon a Child and understanding retail and having, this management experience, it might have been tough, but you've got that, so we're good. And of course, I didn't say anything, of course, but I was like, did you not see the rest of my resume? Was that?
$1 billion product lead?
Yeah, I mean, I think I managed just a few more than 10 people in a previous position. So, but anyway, thanks for that pat on the back.
Yeah, I think that's probably why she just floated you over to your regional managers, because they saw that you've got once upon experience, and they kind of just knew that
Yeah.
I mean, if their Q&A was asking, well, how are you managing your once upon, that's the relevant experience that
Yeah,
they
I
quote
know.
you.
I agree. It was well, no, up to that point, I was totally fine with that approach, thinking, oh, I've already checked. Like, I was thinking of it like this is the cherry on the top. But yeah, the
Mhm.
way she was like, but if you didn't have this, like, apparently it would have been a harder discussion, I guess. I don't know. I do wonder what it's like to be multi-owner. In the disclosure, there are a ton of multi-owners. I mean, there's obviously one guy that's the 80-20 rule. He looks like he's got all the things in from like Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Eastern Arkansas, Southern Kentucky. He like dozens and dozens of stores. But lots of people, like there's one guy that looks
How'd
like
you
he's
get
got.
access to this? You're already part of their Facebook group or something?
Oh
Like,
no, but it's in there. They disclose that in the franchise disclosure document, the FDD. So when you want to engage the franchise, right? I think it's, I guess, SEC mandated, but it's the FDD. And so Once Upon doesn't disclose all the owners, but these guys do.
So they don't really have a problem with you already being once upon, like there's no direct, it's not a direct competitor, so I guess um but they're not concerned like time, bandwidth, resources,
I mean,
impact.
the ops consultant, their ops person, she seemed okay. I mean, basically, I said, which is true, that Carly and I are effectively working one full-time equivalent at this point. So I said, as far as we've understood, right, the current person is working half-time. So we're ready to budget in a full-time equivalent if need be.
Mhm.
Um, she seemed okay with that.
Yeah. Trust in the system, it'll run itself.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 9 people there, and like 7 of them have been there for longer than a year. So that's clearly going into the equation of like this shouldn't be so tough to take over. But I guess we'll see.
That's a good sign, though. I mean, if people are there for longer than a year, I mean, retail is, I'm guessing there's quite a bit of turnover. So having that kind of longevity with your team is a good thing.
Yeah, she says she gets tons of high school applications, but
I think it's more sexy for high school students to want to go and work at a cookie store and ice cream store than it is to go work at a baby store.
I mean, yeah, it's not even a comparison.
Unless you're getting teen moms or something.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing. Yeah, that's the whole thing with the clothing stores. Like, I mean, if all you had to do was put clothes, like if the clothes came on hangers and you just hung them, and then register, where you're a register person, or if all you did was ring people up, that would be. I mean, of course, that would be a simple job, but yeah, that whole buying in and sorting of stuff just makes it not fun with those guys. What else you got, Seymour?
so for anyone who might be considering franchising, what advice would you give them based on your experiences so far?
Um, I don't know. I don't have any good summary. Um,
You
I don't know.
mentioned you were talking to a colleague of yours previously that was talking about starting something for months since he left his corporate job, and you said he was struggling to get going, but you must have given him some kind of advice or things to think through.
I
Maybe
mean,
not
yeah, I mean,
advice.
I basically said something along the lines of, um, I mean, yeah, the franchise is a nice kickstart. I said for years I've worked with some buddies And yeah, and I think I was under this illusion of like wanting to invent, wanting to build whatever you want to say, start from scratch. And I mean, now that I'm in Once Upon for 2 years, you guys might look at it and feel like, oh, well, it's just you had such a head start because it's a franchise. I mean, I can tell you, I feel like I've done the work of starting from scratch. I mean, building a market from scratch, building a customer base from scratch, right? Building whatever you want to call our product and service. So, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have the franchise name that people recognize and kind of gives you a little kickstart, but like, yeah, it's not a bad way to just get in and get started because that's the big thing, right? Get started. So I said some version of something like that to him.
Very good. Well, definitely your journey has humbled me to a point where the other day I was even looking at carpet cleaning companies, like, yeah, I could do this. I'd be proud to do this, So appreciate you bearing your soul through the ups and downs of your first journey. And so far it seems to be doing well. And now you're on to, what would you call this? Second stage of a 10
Second
stage,
story.
second story.
I
Yeah.
guess I guess I'll try to say where we're going by saying what we're not. Or anyway, seeing family in Houston over the weekend. We told some of the in-laws like about this opportunity, and they were like, y'all are going to be, well, because it's cookies and ice cream, right? And they were like, so you guys are going to be bakers now? And I just wanted to say, we're business owners. What are you talking about? Like,
A baker and a shop owner.
yeah, a shopkeep, and a small-time chef. No,
Justin, did
but
you see the last one?
No, I didn't watch the last one. Sorry.
Jim said, one of your daughter's friends said, "Oh, your mom is a shopkeeper?"
yeah, somebody told Cameron, "Oh, I know what your mom does. She's a shopkeeper." And Carly was about to correct Cameron. I was like, "It's fine. That says That says enough."
Oh yeah,
Nothing wrong with shopkeepers.
come over and get some free ice cream. How much of a shopkeeper? Shopkeepers are great.
Yeah, especially, I mean, yeah, 5 minutes from the school now, it's gonna be good. No, I think it's actually, I mean, ultimately, if we don't do any more cookies and ice cream, I think it's gonna be a good bridge. It's like, how do we handle two different things, which are, I'll say, very different, right? And typically, even if we wanted to go after another Once Upon store, I mean, that region would be different, the neighborhood would be different, the employees would be different, right? I mean, so and it's a lower capital outlay. So I think, managing all that, multiple P&Ls, multiple teams, multiple neighborhoods, et cetera. Yeah, it's a good bridge for us.
So from selling $1 billion worth of semiconductor process chemicals to selling cream, sugar, and guar gum extract. You like that? Is that humbling or?
But you know what? If you do the math, as far as the effort and time and capital outlay, like I would say that this is way better returns than the billion
Yeah, I
dollar
mean,
chemical.
yeah, I guess, well, ROI will be a separate discussion, but even with our pretty conservative view of the P&L of cookies and cream this year, plus the projection for Once Upon, so let's say I mean, I'll be a little bit exaggerating. In my first full year post quit, obviously it's like, 9 months and then 12 months, but I think by the end of this year, that will be just about replacement salary from what not including bonus, whatever. But I mean, that I think is going to be pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
What up?
And the sky's the limit, man. You're not
I will
tied
say
to.
this, yeah. Back to devil's advocate kind of crap though. That one friend you were talking about though, when I said something about, oh, we're almost going to be at replacement the other day, he's like, but what about your opportunity cost? I'm like, stop. That's just another barrier to stop you from doing something. Stop it.
Justin, you got anything else?
Not right now.
All right. Then we can let Jim go.
Okay.
And get on with his family.
Hey,
Thanks,
real
Jim.
quick. Oh, are you still recording?
Yeah. It's okay. Go ahead.
I just